Alrighty, traders, good afternoon, good morning, good evening, and welcome to the AAA session. A couple of little technical issues as we got started this afternoon. Trust everyone is doing well. We've got a special guest here with us today, and it's not Mike, it's not Chris, and it's not Tyson, of course. It is Michael R. I'm going to call him Michael R because it is a mysterious last name. So we're going to go ahead and call him that. I'm noticing that Chris is gone here. Let's see. Did we lose Chris for a moment right here? Let me see here.
I still see him.
I'm still here, man.
You're not gone. All right. So let's go ahead and do the start here, Chris. For some reason, I don't have you in here. That's interesting. All right. I'll get. Oh, there we go. There we go. Popped you up again. All right. So let's go ahead and get started this afternoon. I'm going to go ahead and say, Chris, how was your weekend?
It was fantastic. A little Valentine's Day birthday weekend for the missus, so enjoyed that. That was it. Here we are. New week.
Fantastic. Good. Tyson?
My weekend was horrible because I live in Minnesota with our guest, Michael, and it's negative 11 degrees out right now, so that's not fun.
Yeah, it isn't. It isn't. So, Michael, how you doing, buddy?
I'm good. How are you?
All right, fantastic. For those that don't know, Michael's actually, we brought him on. He runs the Jumpstart Program here at Market Traders, and he's doing an absolutely fantastic job with Denise. And Michael, go ahead and say a couple of words on the Jumpstart Program that you do for Market Traders.
The Jumpstart Program was really an idea that Denise came up with about trying to help new students get a lot of their questions answered. A lot of the basics in the trading rooms where the instructors just don't really have the time to focus on some of those, the entry-level questions, and a lot of trying to get students the resources and find everything that MTI offers.
Absolutely, absolutely, and that's a great stepping stone. I actually do it a lot, and I know Tyson and Chris do it as well. But we always tell our students that are struggling with certain basic concepts. Now, I call them basic. It may be more advanced for some people, but obviously it's basic things that we teach here at Market Traders that we want to make sure that you have the right help and right support with that. And so the Jumpstart's a good place to go to get all those answers, all those questions answered based on the basic setups, basic concept that we use and tools that we use here at Market Traders as well. Guys, let's jump into the markets right now because we did notice that right at the start of the session this week, we had a big move out of JPY crosses, JPY weakness across the board. Chris, go ahead and share with me what your insight is on what's going on right now with the market.
Well, I think what's interesting is taking a look at everything last week. You know, the Japanese yen pairs on higher time frames are starting to stretch into those levels where, you know, you're starting to recognize more disagreement, more divergence, overbought, oversold conditions on really high time frames. So,
yeah,
you know, we have talked a lot about the Japanese yen pair being sentiment based, and right now the stock markets are very bullish, and that is not stopping. So that weakness is getting pushed in, but, you know, at these technical levels of overstretched, divergent conditions, it feels like, you know, we might be looking at some traders that are feeling the pain of trying to call the top a little bit too early and maybe running into some open spaces before we start, you know, actually seeing some legitimate tops forming on JPY pairs and seeing them start to balance. So I know that all of us today, just before we started the session, are looking at some really good alignments of, you know, yes, it's overbought. Yes, there's divergence. What do we have to trade back to below? And then what price evidence are we looking for these entries on JPY pairs? But overall, I think that the Japanese yen is looking really good for some strength. It's just interesting that the last 48 hours it's been very, very weak. But I think this is that capitulation move that we talk about a lot. Yeah.
Tyson, any focus that you've got for this week that you're going to be paying attention? I know we've got some Aussie data coming out, jobs data coming out tomorrow. Is there any sort of change in your trading plan from last week to this week?
You know, not really. The focus is on not over leveraging, over margining. I know the turns are coming in a lot of these pairs. Reasons why the yen is getting beat up, same reasons why the dollar is we're in a risk on environment. This money has to go someplace. However, the money will eventually run out. We've gone to a point where we are now starting to see some levels of euphoria. I've been talking about this the last few weeks, and I'm stacking into the yen pairs. I'm in the Aussie pairs, looking for that turn. As long as we're not over leveraging, we should be able to manage these trades in profit when the turn actually happens. So I'm excited, but looking for that turn also.
Now I want to talk a little bit more about stocks and see what your insight is on stocks. But before we do that, let's shift over to Michael because as a guest today, we want to focus on what Michael's doing here at Market Traders and how he's helping the students. And we spoke about the Jumpstart program and how you can get plugged into the Jumpstart program as a go-between the UTP and getting into the trading rooms. The Jumpstart program is a good place to go ahead and have a quick pit stop and learn a little bit about the tools and the exercises or the process that we take in order to be able to get ready for the trading rooms. Now, another thing that has been absolutely awesome is that Michael has created one of the oscillators that we use inside the FX Fusion course, which is which is fantastic because it helps identify these overbought and oversold conditions. Now, Michael's the brains behind putting this whole thing together with regards to the strategy around the FX Fusion course. And we're going to go into some details of that and give you some insight of what it looks like. And we're going to go take a look at a couple of setups. And specifically, we'll be talking about the JPY movement that we've had over the last couple of hours. In fact, over 24 hours, actually 12 right now. But over the last 12 hours, we've seen some big movements out of the JPY crosses. A lot of weakness out of JPY. Let's just go ahead and take a look what it looks like on a chart. And I'd like you all to just go ahead and contribute to this conversation because I think this involves a lot of aspects that are very interesting. So let me go ahead and show you the chart right
Gary,
here.
While you bring this up, if I could just real quick, while you guys are watching this, anybody out there on YouTube, just understand that what Michael has done is he's kind of incorporated a lot of different aspects that myself and Chris and Gary and even things from the UTP, and he's kind of combined it into what I look at as a super easy to understand, easy to read indicator set. And if you like what you see, Chris, if we could share, we have a link at the 4 p.m. client webinar. You guys will be invited to that. We're going to do a high-level overview of this strategy. You're going to be able to see it in action. So if you like what you're seeing today, please pay attention. You can get more of it at the 4 p.m. session if you want to come to that.
Excellent, absolutely. Here it is here. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and flip over to this right here. Here I've pulled up the EURJPY chart. That's the daily time frame right now. Now I'm going to tell you what I'm seeing right now, and I'd like to get some input from Michael. But I've noticed right here that, Michael, we've got this big long resistance coming up here at the top right here. And we are moving into an overbought condition based on this oscillator down below. By the way, traders, this oscillator is called the RTS. It is the relative trend strength indicator that's given us these overbought, oversold conditions. Now, we're getting into this overbought condition right here. Michael, just guide me through what you're seeing right now and what I should be paying attention to.
So the RTS really measures how fast and how powerful a trend is. And anytime you get above or below the 35 level on the indicator, the strategy really looks for kind of a crack in that trend strength. So, and that's where you're getting the arrows on the top and the bottom. Specifically for this pair, on a 4-hour chart, we've got a couple really interesting things going. As you said, the RTS is moving to an overbought, but we're also right at a supply and demand level. And if you put on the harmonics, we also have a bearish harmonic showing up right now too.
Oh, very cool. So we've got a bunch of information right here. Let's talk about this supply and demand levels. Now, Tyson, you're a big fan of supply and demand levels, right? What does this mean for you when you see a supply and demand level right here, and the indicators indicating that we should be heading back down south?
Yeah, it's very, very important. What it means to me is not a perfect indication, but it's a fairly profitable, high probability indication that historically that's where sellers were sitting. And if that's where sellers were sitting, then that's oftentimes, especially when price runs into it, that's oftentimes where sellers are going to look to sell again. And the thing I love about supply and demand that Michael's incorporated is I always ask myself, well, what is happening? What has happened and what will happen next? And if we're at a level of supply sitting high, and now if the market fusion indicator is giving us what I call the sell zone alert, this is a great looking setup sitting in supply with the sell alert. And then adding on top of that the harmonic patterns that Michael just pointed out. So supply and demand is very, very important, and I think it offers a pretty clear area on this. I think, Michael, would you be looking to target those blue ribbons at the bottom, that demand level right below, and then the one even where Gary just was down near that 26.30, 26.20 level?
My original target would be the blue, the lower blue one there. But also the way that I utilize the RTS indicator is if I'm in a trade and it's trending in my direction and I'm in profit, if I start seeing the opposite RTS signal show up, so if we start getting the green shaded zone on the bottom, I'll use that as an area to tighten my stops. So I'll usually go to usually a 1 hour fractal, and I'll trail the stop down below those. So every time that I won't not automatically get out of the trade, but I'll definitely tighten on my stops as the RTS is kind of, again, showing a potential crack in that trend strength.
Okay, so you're saying right here, Michael, where you get a signal right here to go sell, and you'll hold that signal until we get these reverse signals over here. Then you'll go ahead and start managing your trade using your trading stop loss on on fractal highs.
Yes, and I usually use that trailing stop when we're in a more of a longer term trend, when we're a little more directional. This one's been chopping around a little bit, so Tyson's talked a lot about this in the student-only webinars lately, about the fear of missing out, the FOMO. And in my opinion, there's two types of FOMO. There's the fear of missing the trade, so we enter too early, and then there's the fear of missing out on the maximum profit on a trade. So we either hold it too long and it ends up turning against us. So with this indicator, there's so many different opportunities and different ways to utilize it. I'm much more protective of my profits now. I'm comfortable, not waiting until it reaches my ultimate target if I can free up that margin and find the next opportunity.
Yeah, if I could say something real fast on that.
Sure.
Because in my trading room, in the Money Flow trading room, Michael knows this well. We set up trades, and I try to set up trades where, we don't like to use the word set and forget, but where I don't have to babysit them throughout the week. So we have our plan rolling into the week. We set it up and we let it go. And that plan is valid all week long. But as Michael knows, oftentimes we can get those early week moves. Early in the week, we can get the move in our favor, and we have nice profits in place. And then sometimes we give back those profits into late Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. And what Michael's been doing, and this is what I'm going to actually start incorporating in my own trading room, is using the fusion indicator, the RTS, as a way to continue to do what we do in the money flow. But maybe on Wednesdays, late Wednesdays, if we're getting a market fusion signal that's opposite of the money flow, we want to start locking in those profits rather than holding them all week long. And so I think that's really going to raise our profitability and start locking in profits sooner for a lot of the money flow students.
Now I do that with my target trading class as well. I'm starting to lock in early profits instead of chasing right to the target, taking early profits. And I know, Chris, you're a fan of targets as well, right? And I mean, on this chart right here, as you look at the 4 hour on the EURJPY, we do have a weekly target to the downside as well. Does that create any sort of interest for you?
It does, but the fact that today's a holiday, I'm not looking to take any action until probably tomorrow's trading day. It's like there's really not anybody else on the other side of the trade. So if we have like a 1 day push from last night's open to today's full day, maybe we start to see things change in the Asia session tonight, and maybe we have a different trading day coming into tomorrow. But take a look at the higher time frame, the euro yen. We're just recently getting above those highs at 127.50. We might stretch into a round number, like it's currently just shy of 128. We might stretch into like 130. We know that these JPYs can trend. They can stay a little bit more irrational. Denise said it earlier in the chat. Hopefully we'll start to see some turns on these JPY pairs without any flash crash type drama. So we might be looking at one of those scenarios where it might push an extra 100 to 200 pips, maybe more, until we really see the higher time frames, that divergence and stuff all play out. But I'm certainly interested. I think that there's a ton of great alignments for us to look for JPY to get stronger. It'll be interesting to see if the JPY actually turns for us technically, what that looks like in the stock market too. I just wanted to know that the U.S. stock markets have been bullish and path of least resistance. But don't forget about the Nikkei 225. That thing has been a bullet and a rocket ship since last March as well. And we're talking about going back to the highs they haven't seen in 30 years. So, you know, the JPY is just as much the sacrificial lamb as the dollar is with the U.S. markets being bullish. The JPY is the same thing with the Nikkei 225.
Yeah, absolutely. But in your planning, if you feel like, look, you need more buyers buying and selling inside, not buyers, but you need some bipartisan buying and selling inside this pair. Would you be sitting on the sideline, or would you be preparing yourself right now for levels that you want to go and enter, or do you feel like I'm just going to rather wait for turning signs?
I think I'm going to – so on the euro-yen, since we're on that example, I think what I would be looking for is there's a really simple trend line you can start from the January 18 lows and just kind of connect to recent lows, and that will take you into current price. There's no sign to sell it yet. We might be hitting 130. I'd like to see what happens around 129 to 130 if it's going to stretch a little bit further. But I am currently, like, I'm short Swiss yen. I like that trade overall. I'm short Aussie yen overall. You know, and I might have to sit a little bit longer on those pairs for now. But I'm not really getting a ton of yen exposure. But I think that euro yen is one that a simple trend line break, some hesitation on 129 to 130. Way more interest in looking at those the kind of indecision patterns at the tops.
Okay,
and
fair enough. All right.
There is a supply and demand level at 129 as well, or 129.75-ish area.
Yep, perfect. So just another fantastic alignment, you know, just good technicals. And so that just, again, that gives traders the know-how that we might stretch a little bit further. It might want to run to that 120 level, 129, 129.75, like Michael pointed out. So just be prepared for that. And with an absence of holidays today in the U.S., there's really nothing on the other side of the trade. So, you know, this might be like an early week of JPY weakness, and we'll see if it changes, you know, maybe midpoint, maybe Wednesday, Thursday, we start to get a change in the tide.
Yeah. I see this as there is definitely a pattern here. Let me just see here. If I draw from the low right here, I want to just see where that target is to the upside here. Because I'm seeing a big, if you look at this as a big rising wedge from where it created this first swing right here. We had a 5-0 pullback, but then it's gone ahead and created a 1, 2, 3, 4 property, and then we need another 5. But we're definitely seeing some movement right here. Let me see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And we've got 130.80 coming into play right here, which could be the 1.618. So it's going to be interesting. I certainly will be interested in some short-term pullback, just because we get in resistance. The market's going to push off that. But we'll see how the open does tomorrow when the banks start coming. When the pair starts getting some more flow of cash coming through that currency. All right, so good. Let's shift over to let's just take a step back right here and to say, once again, just like Tyson mentioned, there's going to be a 4 o'clock webinar that Tyson's going to be talking about this product itself. And to get more information, make sure you go ahead and connect with Tyson in that webinar. Tyson, do we have the link for the webinar at 4? Chris?
Yeah, I think Chris
it's already been posted. It's
posted already. Okay, fantastic.
Yep, it's in the chat.
Excellent. All right, so if you want to get in that webinar, know a little bit more about what Michael put together, go ahead and check out see what Tyson's got for you at 4 o'clock today. Moving to stocks, Tyson, go ahead and close us up with some iron stocks, and maybe we throw in some cryptos there because we've got some good movement over the weekend on Ethereum, as well as Bitcoin hitting the same highs but not breaking through, but Ethereum breaking through that into the 1800s already.
Yeah, stock market. You cannot look to try to sell this stock market. It's especially rolling in today where we got a bunch of risk on currencies. We've got stock markets around the world that are opened, rallying up. Expect a rally day tomorrow. I don't believe that the stimulus is priced into the market yet, which means we could see another leg higher. I think this is all setting up to take us into more euphoric rises. Tops and bottoms are not formed by floating to the top and then staying around. Tops don't stay atop for long. What I mean is they have a capitulation move higher and then a big sell-off lower. That's a top. A bottom is the same thing. We are now floating around this top for a little bit of the time, which means it's not the top to me. The top on the Dow might be 35,000, might be 40,000. I don't know. But you got to be a buyer. You got to be a buyer of high-quality stocks that you like, that you're willing to take long-term plays in. And there's plenty of money to be made. real quick shout out to Michael. Michael turned me on to a stock. I did not take advantage of this. I will not ignore Michael ever again. He's turned me on to two things that have done amazing that I should have been jumping on. He turned me on to a cryptocurrency chain link at about $2 or $3. It's sitting at like 35 now. Just huge. And then he turned me on to a stock, Edit, EDIT, about a year and a half ago when it was trading about $26, $27. And the thing went up to about $100. So Michael has called out some amazing trades, but I'm a bull. I'm a long-term bull on cryptocurrencies. It's very hard for me to want to buy anything at these levels. I'm willing to have some cryptocurrency exposure right now, but I do believe we will be able to buy at a lower price. But I've been saying that for 3 months. And so if you've been waiting for that dip, the dip hasn't come, and it's gonna be hard to maintain the patience. But I think we'll see 35,000 again in Bitcoin. And I think that will bring down some of the alts, and I think that'll be a good buying opportunity. But we also got a flush down last night, so that could be a good buying opportunity also. But here's the game plan with that. Bottom line is this: find the ones you like that you're willing to hold for the next 3 to 5 years. Stick to, I think, the top 10 in market cap when it comes to cryptocurrencies. Buy them for 3 to 5 years, and I think you're going to be fine.
Now listen here. Did you pay any attention to the loop ring, the altcoin that I spoke about a few weeks ago?
Listen, I didn't, and I should have. I know. Listen, I'm kicking myself. I'm the biggest bonehead in the room. I know that. Come
on, man. But listen, I'm interested in Chainlink because I've been watching that. Do you think there's some still additional buying power in that too?
I think Chainlink, and I know Michael's a huge Chainlink guy too. I think there are 3 cryptocurrencies that I know of that I think are blue chip cryptocurrencies. That's Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Chainlink.
Woo! All right. Well, definitely get into Chainlink, but you didn't mention anything about Loopring. I'm not happy about that.
I don't know enough about that. We have done well with Algorand though. Michael knows that. I called out Algo when it was at 55 cents, and the thing ran up to about $1.85 in 3 weeks. So that was pretty good.
Okay, great. Well, I'm going to go ahead and give Chris the final words for today because he hasn't been speaking much, which is unusual about Chris. But go ahead, Chris, give us the final words for the week, what we should pay attention to, and then we're going to go ahead and close off.
Yeah, so look, I think that right now we're in the path of least resistance, the bull market, the sentiment, everything is about, buying the stock market, seeing it continue to go higher and see how long it can keep going. So, I think the painful play is going to be trying to call the tops. The painful play is going to be, the stock market has to drop. All the signs are there. It's almost too easy. It's almost too easy to see overbought, oversold conditions, right? So everybody can see it. Everyone's waiting, trying to get in early. That's not the play. I think right now, if you're short term, you're bullish and you stay bullish, you stay risk on, and you grind out these pips, you eliminate risk as quickly as possible, let your profits run. You might be surprised how much further things can run over the next maybe few weeks. So I think that's the best play to look at this week. If you are already picking some tops or looking to short and fade some currency pairs or whatever instruments they are, hopefully the trade size is small and you're being patient because we might have to sit on these for a few more weeks. I think one of my best alignments is still looking at dollar pairs. We talked about that since the beginning of the year. So staying patient on dollar crosses, staying very patient on JPY pairs because they can certainly be a lot more irrational. But I would say everyone in this session today, give us a thumbs up on the video, get into the webinars today, check out what Michael's doing. Make sure you jump into the Jumpstart program with Michael and Denise. Tons of great feedback, and it's there for you. It's there for all the students, traders out there needing help and wanting questions answered, and by fellow traders, fellow students. So that's it. Let's have a great week.
Absolutely, guys. Well, thank you, Chris. Thank you, Tyson. Michael, appreciate what you guys are doing. You and Denise in the Jumpstart program. Continue to do that. Traders get into the Jumpstart program, just as Chris mentioned. That's a great start to get involved with what we do here in our trading rooms because it really helps you give that stepping stone into to understanding tools and resources that we use here at Market Traders. So with that being said, get with Tyson at 4 o'clock. Don't forget about that. 4 o'clock, get into the webinar. Also, just like Chris said, smash that like button. Go ahead and share the video. We'd like to get the message across to the world if we can. But yeah, go ahead and share that video as well. With that being said, guys, have a fantastic week of trading. We'll see everyone back next week. Thank you.